Today I'm going to tell you about a family who had an incredible and crazy experience. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to never miss a story. That morning, my daughter Emma woke me up early. While we were reading a book, she said, "Mom, get a divorce while you still can," she said, with disarming seriousness. The words hit me like a punch in the stomach. "Explain?" I asked. "Dad's leaving soon, you have to hurry." "My name is Laura and I live with my husband Marco and our daughter Emma. I met Marco at university and we got married soon after graduation. I thought of being a housewife, but when her job didn't go as planned, I had to take a job at a local company. Shortly after, I got pregnant and decided to quit my job to focus on raising Emma and the house. After graduating, Marco found a job in a large company, but his reserved nature and his difficulty integrating led him to change jobs frequently. He had been working at the same company for 4 years and thought we were financially stable, but in reality, we were not. His salary of €500 a month was not enough to cover our family's expenses. One day, as Marco was coming home, he handed me my monthly salary. "Thank you," I said, forcing a smile, but inside, I felt frustrated. With a 5-year-old daughter, expenses had increased significantly. Marco was convinced that $500 a month was enough, but the reality was very different. Once, when I asked him if he could find a better-paying job, he got very angry. "I already do enough, you don't work, so don't comment." Marco was a man of few words, seen from the outside as quiet and kind, but at home he was different. Every comment he didn't like made him angry, and I was always walking on eggshells. Emma, my little one, was my angel. One day, she saw me a little sad and came to hug me on the bed. "Mom, you have to work hard," she said with a smile. Thanks to her, I was able to find the strength to carry on. One day, Marco came home with a toy for Emma, something he had never done before. She looked at him and said, "Mom already bought me this the other day." Marco got angry and snatched the toy out of her hand, throwing it away. Luckily, it didn't hit her, but the thought of what could have happened terrified me. "What the hell are you doing?" I screamed. "Shut up!" Marco replied, while our daughter cried desperately. I shielded myself in front of her, and Marco raised his arm as if to strike me, then stopped and went into another room. Holding Emma in my arms, I surveyed the damage. A large bruise, visible but not serious enough to require medical attention. But my distrust of Marco was now deep-seated. 2 hours later, Marco came home. He didn't say anything and went to bed. I decided to sleep in the other room with Emma, and the next morning, Marco left early for work. 3 months passed without incident. Marco worked as usual and I managed home and work remotely. One day, Marco brought a cake. "Thanks, Dad," Emma said, "but where's mine?" "Sorry, it's just for Mom. I'll get you one next time." Marco had changed, more kind and attentive. However, the salary remained low, and he always gave me the entire paycheck. "There's no need for much," I told him. "The extra money I earn covers it just fine." "But I'm the head of the family," he replied proudly. One day, Emma asked Marco to play with her. As they walked away, Emma turned to look at me with pleading eyes. An hour later, Emma came back and said, "Mum, Dad said he'll be on a business trip starting tomorrow." It was strange that he hadn't told me about it. Later, when Marco returned, I asked him about the trip. "It came up out of the blue," he replied evasively. The next day, a noise woke me up. Marco was getting ready to leave. "Why so early?" I asked. "I have to get there before the others," he said. A little later, Emma woke me up and said, "You should divorce Dad right now." I asked her to explain. "He's thinking about saying goodbye to you," she replied. We quickly packed our bags and left the house. A few days later, I received a phone call from Marco. "Where are you? I came back and there's no one here." "Welcome back," I replied coldly. "How was your trip? It was all a lie, wasn't it?" Marco tried to defend himself, but I knew he was lying. I had already checked with his company. Emma had also understood everything thanks to a game on Marco's cell phone, where she had found Marco's detailed plan to get rid of us. She was only 5 years old, but she was very attentive and had understood the danger. By getting rid of us, I mean killing us. Literally, it was a plan thought out in great detail. When I confronted Marco with the evidence, he tried to defend himself, but I had already informed the police. When Marco showed up at my parents' house, I had no choice but to confront him. "We're family, we should be together," he said. But I couldn't trust him. I told him I was planning to divorce him and that I had consulted a lawyer. Finally, the police arrived and arrested him. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison for trying to harm us. Emma and I moved in with my parents and started a new life. Today, we are happy, surrounded by love and security. Emma is my angel, and thanks to her, we found the strength to move forward. After the move, life began to flow peacefully. Every day was a precious gift, far from the shadows of the past. Emma went back to smiling, playing and living with the carefree attitude that every child deserves. It filled my heart to see how, despite everything, she had managed to maintain her lively and curious spirit. Our story was not only a testimony of pain and hardship, but also of resilience, love, and hope. And that, I knew, was the greatest lesson I could give my daughter.